And capital exists for that to happen. It's just what's slowing every one of us down. It's been this amorphous thing called government, that nobody knows what they are doing. Look at even what's happening today. Almost 2 years to an election, there's nothing else in the airwaves but elections. At the pain of development, no funds are being released except it's targeted to friends that can make it happen for you to elections. There's something drastically wrong with the mindset. It's a political will, and a lot of our politicians who are listening should understand that development is what guarantees your return to power. It's not by putting people down, and it's only for a limited time that this can happen. The genius in the Nigerian is about to be unleashed. I just pray nobody stands in their way, because we can't continue like this. Let's look at it. Because you go to your villages, the average Nigerian is not lazy. They get things done. They go out. People go to the farm, walk. Why don't we have railways that can pick up economic crops? I did my youth service in Kano, and I took the pain to drive around in Kaduna, the north. You go towards the Nasarawa area, you see massive mangoes just touching down, so big and touching down the ground.
Actually, that's Nasarawa or Benue.
That entire belt, and all that. And nobody's picking them. They take what they can take. There are no good juice industries there, and so many things. And then you see a lot of farmers with wares on their backs. That's so inefficient.
But have we been able to properly manage and harness this public-private partnership arrangement? Have we been able to do it very well?
We are doing it very well in some instances, hiccups in other instances. If you look at the story of the airport, we're still arguing whether or not the first experiment we had with the MM2 works. But if you go to the MM2, it works. It could have been better, I quickly admit. But then it's formed the reason for the government to sort of wake up from its slumber. And now there is airport development going all over Nigeria. Again, you wonder, before this minister came, didn't other ministers say it? Look at the roads. Look at the Lekki, the experiment with the concession on the Lekki. It's come with mixed reactions. Some feel government is abandoning responsibility, but let's face it, that road is better than it ever was. So if paying 100 naira, 150 naira to guarantee me good roads, drive well and everything, I just think it's a little price to pay.
Okay, so now the infrastructure concession, and sorry to cut you there, now the infrastructure concession regulatory commission, has it properly achieved what it was actually set up to do?
No, I wouldn't go that far. They still need to do a lot more, because that is one agency that's truly strategically placed to do a lot of these things that I'm talking about. They've done well in some areas, but it could have been phenomenally more. So for me, it's a mixed review with regard to their success.
But should clusters and probably industrial parks be introduced? Could this actually solve the problem of infrastructure deficit?
Clusters, industrial parks, for me, let them be part of a grander plan. Because there's not just one solution. It's just a mishmash of different things that can happen. So yes, let them be introduced, but they should not be seen as the answer. It could be an answer. Because there's so many other things you need to do going with the way economic indices work. So you just must look at your industrial parks, you look at clusters, so that you have people who can go there to learn skills, do what they have to do. But at the same time, don't forget your SMEs and all the other people who would want to work from the comfort of their home. They actually employ more people, if you ask me. Agriculture, so many of these things. Yeah, it's a mismatch, a mixed bag.
Right. But you remember that at the beginning of the month, the World Economic Forum actually released its Global Competitiveness Index report. And in that report, Nigeria was actually ranked 134th in infrastructure. Now, we want to be among the top 20 economies by the year 2020. And we know that the government is trying very hard to ensure that policies and the regulations that are actually put in place will help propel us to achieve that vision.
Sure.
But how can we, in the short to medium term, begin to ensure that we are able to place ourselves strategically to get to that point?
Vision 2020 was conceived long before this administration came in. And along the line, we lost a lot of time, if you ask me. So, realistically, can we be in the top 20 economies by the year 2020? That would be some asking, if you ask me. But if it gives us a target to drive our development, it's all welcome. And what the government should be doing is doing what we've been talking about throughout this program. First of all, look at the legal and regulatory framework upon which business is done. That is key. Secondly, create other types of enabling environment. We've talked about education. Do that so that, all these things like ASU strike and co send the wrong message about your plans for 2020. Fix that as quickly as you can do that. In the concessioning thing that we're talking about, to be a bit more aggressive about it so that you can attract more funds. And like I said, it's not all a gloomy story. In spite of all we say, Nigeria is still a favorite destination for investors. The confusion, and I can tell you that because as a commercial law practitioner, a lot of inquiries come to us. But the confusion is always, what do we do? How do we do it? And everybody's scampering to find out what the correct answer is.
So the agencies that we have in place, are they enough, or there are too many? Are these agencies duplicating efforts?
Yeah, in some cases they're duplicating efforts, except that some of them now, the one-stop agency principle is coming in. Again, it's still, the jury is out there as to whether or not it's working. But I still know that everyone is still, you want your quota, you're going to Ministry of Internal Affairs, you want this, you're going somewhere, and all that. The thing is just to create greater certainty. It's certainty that makes investors come in. If I know that I'm putting in X amount of money, and in 5 years, this is the expected return, I can take a calculated risk.
Okay, so George, just before I let you go,
sure,
let's just talk about, like I said, Tuesday, Nigeria will be celebrating 53 years of independence. It's not like we are oblivious to what the challenges are, but how can we begin to you will notice that I didn't mention all the very volatile sectors that everybody knows we're actually deficient in, because it's something that everybody knows. But we can't always keep harping on the challenges and keep knocking it on the head. We should be able to prefer solutions. And you've already mentioned the fact that we need to ensure that our legal and regulatory framework are actually in place. And we've also talked about the fact that we shouldn't have agencies duplicating efforts.
Absolutely.
What other way can we ensure that we have a win-win situation as regards infrastructure development in Nigeria?
Let me take you quickly to the local content element we never talked about, because that's one of the incentives created by law to encourage Nigerian participation in our development, including infrastructure. At this point, it is directed, the oil and gas sector is the one that's doing it, but the template is being applied to other sectors. We've seen that in power, we've seen that in telecoms and all that. So that sort of framework can also be a catalyst to development, because it helps Nigerians participate in sectors of the economy that they would ordinarily have not been able to participate in. Because in the end, the development is going to be left to us. The guys who come from abroad are here for the money.
Yes,
we are here to stay, and we've got to get our act together. So at 53, we can only wish ourselves well.
Wow. Thank you so much, George, for joining me on the program today. It's been quite interesting having this conversation with you.
Thanks, Harriet.
And enjoy your weekend as well.
You too.
Well, that's the program for today. I've been speaking with the former chairman, section on business law of the Nigerian Bar Association, George Utomi, and we've been focusing on infrastructure, how it's been like in the last couple of years, and what we need to be doing at this particular point in time to ensure that we get it to a better place than where it is right